Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the second time for coming tonight, as in the second time I've said thank you very much for coming. Could I please have Matilda up here? Is either in the crowd or hiding somewhere.
Sorry.
Can anyone see Matilda? If they can.
She was waltzing off
Flush,
somewhere.
yes, flush her out. Flush her out.
There he is.
We're just going to have a relatively brief time just to say a few words and to culminate in the second singing of Happy Birthday, given that we've had a go already. But it is going to be part of the cake ceremony, and that's going to be a little bit experimental. In fact, we might set some sort of record tonight. So I'm pretty confident that it'll be memorable one way or another. So, I'll just hand over to Matilda. Mia was planned to beam in tonight via Skype, but we've just had some technical hiccups, and that's not going to be possible, unfortunately, but she really wanted to appear larger than life on the screen over there. It may still happen if we can get it sorted, but it might be a posthumous thing. But anyway, there's plenty of footage of Nicola to make up for it. So I'll just hand over to Matilda just to say a few happy birthday words to her mum.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Matilda.
So I think I've had this conversation with a few of you tonight about how I've been trying to escape, to have a bit of a chance, to have a few words, to really think thoroughly about what I wanted to say about Mum. And ironically enough, I haven't actually had that chance, and that's on you guys. But at the end of the day, that actually comes back to Mum. And the reason why I haven't really had a chance all night to get away is because Mum has just so many connections, and that is really evident tonight. And the amount of people that she's brought into our family's life and into my life is so evident tonight, and I really appreciate that. So I was going to have a go at, I guess the only time I really could think of was a super cheesy acrostic poem. I kind of was comparing it a little bit to, I guess, what I would say. I don't know if some of you probably here tonight were at Mum's 40th. Some of you may not have been. But if you were here, you may have remembered having to fill out a bit of a form for Mum. And part of that form involved a bit of a poem. And so I'm going to kind of compare, that was 20 years ago. So a bit of an acrostic poem for Mum 20 years ago compared to my evolving and much deeper understanding of my mum now, 20 years later. So as an 8-year-old, N would have stood for nice, and it still really stands for nice, but that nice is a lot bigger than it was back then. Back then it was just like oh, you've got an N in the name, you put nice, yeah? But now, nice, as my parents often remind me, is actually a really massive part of my approach to my relationships, and that's well and truly because of my parents. And now I really do pursue people and relationships that I perceive as being nice is a simple way to put it, but really actually relationships that make you feel warm and comfortable, and people who inspire you in a really nice way. And that is well and truly because of Mum, and she really does. You're all here because she's pursued your connection, because she's thought it was one that was nice but also really fulfilling. I probably would have put as interesting, because I would have been really proud at how long that word was. But now interesting means a lot more than just an adjective. It's actually someone who's really pursues really interesting routes and challenges herself. And I really do realise now how much Mum does that. She doesn't just go down the easy path. Sometimes she pursues the random thing. She'll push us into situations where we're a bit uncomfortable, but it always ends up really interesting. So I realise now what that adjective actually means. C, I probably would have put as, maybe I would have put in a courage. But when I say courage about Mum, what I really mean is, and I know some of you are here from various stages of Mum's career, so that courage now is really connected to her career. And I don't know that I've witnessed as many kind of really courageous women in their career path, and I've got to say Mum's really inspired me in that sense of really being a courageous woman, not just courageous, but a courageous woman in her career. So thank you for that. O, I would have said old in like that cheeky way where I knew it got to Mum. Well, now it's wise, really. So now I really realise how much age comes with wisdom and experience. When you're a kid, you kind of devalue it, but I think actually I realise now experience and age is such a value. And not to say that, you're the O word, but you're really wise. And I've learnt so much from you, especially in the last few years, for some of those reasons I've already said, but really your approach to how you navigate your path through life and how that you relate to others is done in such a wise, not an old way, but a wise way. L is for, I would have said love. Now I say loving, because I felt your love, but now I see all the loving that you give to those around you. And I'm just looking down now at all the faces, and I can see how loving you are, because everyone here is from actually really different paths of your life. And the way that we're all here now is because you've been so loving in all those different paths. And it's not just loving in one part of your life, it's a lot of different parts of your life. So that's taught me to be really loving to everyone around me, to those who I don't quite understand, to those who I make an instant connection with, to those who I have an evolving connection with, but always approaching that in a really loving way. And A, I would have probably said annoying when I was 8. What I want to turn that into now is really adventurous, because I remember sometimes, I remember actually quite distinctly, like going on family trips, and we were all pretty passive, and I'm kind of for some reason now distinctly remembering sitting around for a meal in Ireland for an hour, and as I say, I've probably got a bit of the more patient gene from my dad. And so we would kind of wait, and we'd be like, oh, they're probably just busy, And Mum would be like, no, like, we need to just check in, And I found that annoying. But now I realise actually that's kind of coming down to your adventurous side. You want to find out what's happening. You want to find out what's happening in that kitchen. You want to actually pursue the adventure. We'd find it uncomfortable, but for you it's a bit of an adventure. It's a little bit of a challenge to really work out, why is this meal taking so long? And now it's probably a bit of hangry in there, but there's not an H in your name, so. But really at the end of the day, such an adventurous woman. And again, testament to all the different people here from the different walks of your life. And that's really inspired me to continue pursuing some sort of adventure in my life. Whether that's in my work, or if that's just in my connections, or if that's just actually in myself. And what I've learnt probably the most from my mum recently is that having an understanding of yourself and having a positive outlook and happy outlook on your own life doesn't just come easily. It comes with work and persistence, and it comes with a bit of sense of adventure. And I think Mum's always really upheld that and been a really good example of that for me too. So I just want to thank Mum for basically being a well and truly awesome example for me to follow, because it set me up pretty well for hopefully a really nice, a really interesting, really courageous, what was the O word? Not old, a wise, really wise loving and adventurous life ahead of me. So thank you so much, Mum, for
Thank you, Matilda. I think Nicola wants to make a brief response. Do you want to take this down?
Do I take it down?
Yeah.
Hit the lift.
She can come up. She can come up.
Is there a stairmaster?
Nicola, you can come halfway up.
That's a direction.
Okay. I can't look up, can they?
You're going to get caught in the tree. Where are you going to go?
I don't know.
This is how the treehouse got so. This is how the treehouse got so high because Nicola just kept wanting it to go up.
Come on, bring out the A. Bring out the A.
This is a completely different vista. Firstly, Matilda, thank you. It was just really lovely, and yes, I'm really touched, and I'm just, as the girls know, sometimes my eyes get a bit watery, so I'm just sucking them back in. Okay, that's what I'm doing now. I'm looking at it's a really lovely vista up here. I'm wanting to thank. I'm just overwhelmed with the effort that people have come to get here. There's people who've come from, there's about 30 people who've come from interstate. I look down and I see all my cousins and my aunt. There they are, peoples. And I just thank you so much. I'm just really honoured. I'm honoured to see my Aunt Helen here, who's just is such a. And I look down here. My mum didn't make it till this age, so I know I should. But it's just an honour here to see this gorgeous family here, and we know what that means. So thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you. I've got friends from school. I've got friends from various important parts of my life, and people who've travelled all over. There's a couple of people who've had travelled with a different kind of journey in this last few weeks. Lynn and Tim, you know, and I want to thank you too. I'm really touched about seeing you all here. I wanted to well, I guess not talk too much more, because I'm really blessed. That's the point. I'm looking here and I'm seeing this beautiful night. We thought it was going to be raining, and it is a Winter Wonderland party, and that's what I'd hoped for in my mind. I was hoping that we'd have the tree house lit up. That's where this started, and this whole backyard is lit up, and it's beautiful. So thank you for coming. And thank you and enjoy, and we're going to get some dancing a bit later on. But first, a couple of brief words from me and then the rousing rendition of Happy Birthday. Now, those of you who know me well, either in person or via Nicola, know that this is way out of my comfort zone to be speaking publicly like this, so I've worked out a way to avoid doing that tonight. So my words to Nicola are going to be in the form of a couple of songs. The first is a form of poetry called Raku, which I'll get some help with in a minute, and then there'll be a song, and that'll be followed by the lighting of the cake. So I'd like to introduce my helpers in this, and that is we've assembled a treehouse choir for tonight, who hopefully revealed themselves, and they are going to lead us. Yeah, you can go down, Nicola, because you need to, in fact, Nicola, you need to stand just in front of Christine down there. You need to be in a position to receive the cake. Okay? For those of you who don't, you're about to have a now. So, this poem is called Living with Nicola. It's in 10 very short parts, so don't worry too much. And I have to
do a very brief one-sentence introduction to each part. That's part of the poetic form. So, the first part is called An Average Day, and I think is self-explanatory. We ready, choir? Oh. So I've got other copies.
Run, 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 feedback, TV, sleep. Number 2.
Here we go. Number 2, this is what I wake up to each morning. It's called dressing. And again, I think it is self-explanatory.
Dressy, dressy, dressy,
Dressy,
Dressy,
Dressy,
Dressy,
Dressy,
Dressy, Dressy,
Which one?
Which one?
This one is called The Morning Search. I'm just realising that these are all fairly self-explanatory.
where, is it, oh there?
Now this one is for anyone here who has worked with Nicola. And again, self-explanatory.
Shit, 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 shit,
Email, email, send.
Now this one is a little serious, and a bit, well, maybe a bit insightful into how Nicola copes with how you might experience her.
Massage, walking, prayer.
Now this one has had a big impact on my life.
Spreadsheet, holiday.
You notice most of these have a happy ending. Now, Matilda alluded to this one in her very nice words when she gave that little anecdote I think she mentioned in Ireland. So I hope the choir will be able to express the urgency of this one.
White wine, red wine, Kit
Now this one is derivative of the former, and it usually follows the resolution of the former. And I guess the clue is that I don't think I've ever been out to dinner with Nicola and ended up sitting in the same place as where we started.
Sit, 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 sit,
not there, not here,
Near a fire.
Now we're getting to the end of the day.
Eye patch,
Eye patch,
earplug,
eye patch,
earplugs,
eye patch,
snoring,
The last one was my experience of that. And now the final one, which is very straightforward, but sums it up perfectly, I think, in the perfect example of the raku poetry form.
Fun, 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 fun,
Frustrating, frustrating, but fun.
Now, one more quick little song. This one is called Ode to Nicola, or it could also be called Oda Nicola. A very nice cologne, I'd have to say, if it was bottled. Anyway, I'll assume the choir is ready, and after this song, I have to ascend the treehouse, and there'll be a short little period where the cake is prepared. And then when you become aware of the cake, which I think you will, that will be the choir will lead you in Happy Birthday. Okay, and let's just hope it makes it down.
Good luck.
So this is Ode to Nicola. I'll count you in, choir.
Nicola is particular
About her hair and what she wears, and about her spreadsheet.
She cries with flair
And wants to Finisterre. At work she gives her all, but has been known to swear at her computer. But she is generous and gregarious, compassionate, a warrior, yet she is vulnerable. Nicola is particular in her love for you and the joy she feels, and thanks you all for coming.
Thank you. So please hold your positions for a couple of minutes and we'll get ourselves organised.
Mia, can you hear me?
Hi, Mom. Hi. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Let me see my outfit.
Can you see it?
Can I see it?
I don't know. Can she cut the camera on? Can you see anything? No,
I can see you. You have to see your outfit. I can't quite see your skirt.
Oh, okay. I don't.
Yeah, that's
Wow. It's awesome.
Can you see the headpiece?
And everybody else, I can't see everybody else's, except for you're very cold.
Hey Mia, can you turn the cameras on?
Hello, everybody. I'm so proud of you all right now. Hello. Hi. Okay, well, Mum, if you'd like, I can give the speech that I was supposed to give an hour ago when I was sitting on the Berlin train full of people dressed in rainbow for Pride.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you having a good night so far?
Yeah, it's amazing. You should have seen it. It's been amazing. Absolutely amazing. Have you seen your dad's beard?
No, I can't say I have. Except for from below while he's trying to set up the sound.
Anyway, we've got
What is rainbow lights?
Sorry?
What's going on in his beard? Has he got rainbow lights?
Yes. So he matches.
Wow. Wow, okay, that's a lot. I love that. You would fit in here in Berlin right now, Dad.
It's gorgeous to see you. Now, people are all listening, so...
Okay, well, I guess for context, everyone, I'm in Berlin right now, and I'm staying in someone's spare room where they've got an artwork on the wall. I guess artwork is a debatable word. It's a plastic bag from the supermarket chain here, put into a glass frame, with a black frame around the edge, quite large on the wall. it's a minimalist vibe in general in this room, and this plastic bag artwork is quite intriguing to me. So I spent some time looking at it and thinking about it. And I was looking at it and thinking about it while planning how I would give a speech for your birthday, Mum. And I was trying to think about things that, especially we have in common, but generally things that you really appreciate and enjoy, and that you brought me up to appreciate and enjoy. And art was an obvious one. So as I was looking at this plastic bag and thinking, oh, I guess you can kind of make anything to an artwork in one way, I thought maybe I could give a speech where I describe you as an artwork yourself. And that's kind of funny to try and use the the over-the-top flowery, maybe elitist, I want to say, language that is often used in art exhibition descriptions. So I tried to do that as best I could. Hopefully we still get the meaning from it, despite the ridiculous words. And if you don't, then I can do it again in some kind of, I don't know, Aussie Ocker slang version, which you still probably wouldn't understand, but it gives you a different vibe. Okay, so this is a label on the wall. I guess I picture it in a blank room where you're just kind of standing or living or whatever, you know, just being you. Not unlike that person that we saw at Mod at that time, who's in this, like an artwork and it's all been tattooed and they just sit there listening to their iPod on a podium. Anyway, alright. A daring, interpretive piece, Nicola Reynolds is an experience in making, an ongoing, evolving, interactive work. Vivacious and unpredictable, Nicola encourages viewers to problematize the false constraints of society. He speaks of what's beyond, of the vast living tangle of people, worlds, and spiritual experiences awaiting those who dare to ask questions. The work's conceptual departure point is the intersection of executive and mother, a woman who strives for perfection in all areas of her life and recognizes the value of personal discipline and interpersonal investment. Existing at the nexus of these two states of being, placed at opposite ends of the spectrum of capitalist valuation, Nicola nonetheless sacralizes both. She shifts with each interaction, noticing the specificity of each viewer and their desires, and contorting herself to embrace them. Her worldview of deep respect and reverence is manifested in the quotidian, through mindful walking, joyful noticing, and creative conversations. Breathing, singing, laughing, and finger-clicking, she flows through the specs, attracting followers, promotions, and envy. Though appearing discreet, Nicola in fact represents a complex, dynamic assemblage of diverse and thriving connections collected over her many years on display. She has inspired works such as Matilda 1991 and Mia 1995, and exemplifies the complexity and beauty of the creations. She is a masterpiece. Happy birthday, Mum. I'm really sad I can't be there to experience this true to you, surely wacky, lively, and full of interesting characters party that is going on the side of the world. Thanks for your commitment to making our mother-daughtership into a friendship. I'll keep doing my best to reciprocate the amount of care that you show me, starting with our week in LA.
Oh.
I don't really know how I can help you, but I was watching somebody Skype their friend the other day, and they have this particular way that they kiss when they have to do it over Skype, and they have to show affection over Skype. I have no idea why, but there's something compelling about it, and instead of a hug, this is what I can do, is I can copy what they do, which is they stick their teeth out, and then they do the zoom.
That's really but thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, gorgeous.
Happy
Or are you in the corner?
Awesome work, Mia. We're going to hang out now.
Yeah, can I talk to Mum though? Yeah, thanks.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nicola. Happy birthday to you.
Do not get too close with that.
Beautiful.
It just can't. No. Oh, wow. No.
What do we do? Stage management.
Now blow it out. Safety.
Yes.
Safety.
Oh, good idea.
Oh, come on. Nicola. Oh, a bit harder. Especially in that position.
Decolletage.
You got to stretch yourself out more.
Hang on.
Almost there.
That's my bit from the yoga position, shall I?
One more round this side, round the side.